Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Empty Promise podcast. My name is Chris, and today you are joining me and my best friend in the whole wide world, Mr. James D. Downey.
Hello.
On what is episode 111?
Or 111.
Or 111.
Or 111.
There's numerous ways to discuss this episode's title, but rest assured, it is the 111th episode, and today it is coming slightly delayed on a Tuesday mid-afternoon. It is Tuesday, the 17th of November, 2020, which is strange times for us, D.
Yeah, I don't think I don't want to go out on a limb here and say we've never done a podcast on a Tuesday.
You know what? I was thinking that myself before we started. I don't think we ever have done a podcast on a Tuesday. Even when we used to do the old podcast up in our other little studio, a Monday night or a weekend was always the way.
Didn't we do one at midnight on a Monday night though, or was that a different day of the week? That might have been a Friday or something. We did it we started it super late. I don't think it was a Monday night because we would have had to work and stuff. So
yeah, true. But yeah, I don't think we've ever done one on the Tuesday, so this is a first for everyone.
History being made.
So hold on to your butts because we don't know what's going to happen. D, you want to tell us what's coming up in this episode?
Yeah, Chris, we're going to be talking about how to survive a nuclear apocalypse, or how we would survive a nuclear apocalypse. Don't know if this is going to be much good to other people out there, but this is definitely how to survive in rural Ireland. Ish.
Yes.
If you could survive one at all. Also be looking at some topical news, including, of course, your weekly dose of Nick Cage news, and catching up with our weeks at the end.
Excellent.
The podcast.
It sounds like a good episode, D. And what better way to start it? Firstly, before you bring us a list on this day, D, why don't I hit you with the weekly wildlife fact? Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I remembered. I wrote this down. You provided me with a wildlife fact last week or the week before, and I actually wrote down continue to do weekly wildlife. It was episode 110, yeah. Weekly wildlife fact. Do this. I wrote so.
Do this. I like it. That's an empty promise that isn't empty.
No longer empty.
Going to follow through,
unless something horrible happens now and everything cuts out and the episode stops.
The universe doesn't like this.
But here you go. A newborn Chinese water deer is so small it can almost be held in the palm of your hand. Now this is a deer.
A water deer? Did you say?
A Chinese water deer is so small it can almost be held in the palm of your hand. That's pretty impressive for a deer.
To the size of a deer.
It grows to the size of a regular deer.
Man, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go ahead and bookmark that page so that I can come back to that next week with another weekly wildlife fact.
How incredibly cute would a deer that size be, though? You literally lose it that tiny.
Yeah.
And it's like a regular deer, like a regular looking deer. Mm-hmm. Is it a regular looking deer? A water deer?
Yeah, it's pretty regular looking. If you
it's not like a seahorse, which is not. It doesn't look like a horse at all.
No. Yeah, there's a lot of strange animals that have weird names that just don't like the anteater. I know it eats ants, but it looks nothing like an ant. So why
it shouldn't have ant in the name?
It should be called like a dwarf elephant or something. You know.
That's a good. Actually, yeah, I like that. It's like you don't call anything else like the thing that it does, do you?
No, like the dwarven elephant. That'd be pretty cool. That sounds much better.
That is an excellent idea.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The dwarven elephant.
Yeah. I mean, the same kind of concept D applies with fruit, if you ever think about it, because I've thought about it. Wouldn't you know, grapefruit? Why do we need to call it
a grape?
No. So why do we need to call it a grapefruit? The only fruit I think that kind of is what it says it is an orange. It is orange.
Yeah.
You know, everything else is, you have the.
And there's a tangerine.
Oh, true. Yeah. Many varieties of orange.
Is tangerine a color?
Tangerine.
And if so, what color is it? It's bound to be orange, right?
God, now there's a question, D. Is tangerine?
Now, what came first?
Oh, is tangerine a color? I don't know. God, I don't know. That's strange. That's a strange one. Like honeydew is a type of melon. There's no honey in it. Why are you calling it honeydew?
Yeah, true, actually.
Honey's not even yellow. So why are you calling it honey's
watermelon?
What? Yeah. It's got a bit of water in it, but it's not a liquid.
But so does regular melon.
Yeah,
right?
true. Yeah. Oh, like so do apples. Yeah. Let's not get caught up though on the naming of fruit. Why don't you hit me with?
We're gonna get lost in the weeds here.
Yeah. Why don't you hit me with this week's list?
Well, Chris, 17th of November is the day in 1973 where U.S. President Richard Nixon famously publicly announces, "I am not a crook. I am not a crook."
No.
I have no idea why this list is related.
Sorry, what was Nixon's reasoning behind him saying he was not a crook? Where did that stem from exactly? Was it to do with the troops in Vietnam?
That's the Watergate scandal.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh, is it? Maybe. I thought it was Watergate. It was like they had been caught like breaking into the Democratic business suite or something like that, and he was like, "No, we're behind that." I swear, I'm not a crook. Oh, that's
okay, excellent.
Here, this list is not related. Like, it doesn't make any sense. There must be some link here, but I don't know what it is. Okay. It's 10 unusual subjects of some websites specializing in only these topics alone. So,
okay.
There's a website out there, and it doesn't tell you the website. You can't even look it up.
Oh,
Christ sakes, Philip. Men who look like Kenny Rogers, but not Kenny Rogers. Humorous vegetables. Dumb crooks. A website dedicated only to stupid criminals. Toy presidents. Disturbing auctions.
That's a website I think would appeal to the darker side of mine. Disturbing auction. Yeah. What are we selling?
I don't like that. No.
Some kind of murder weapon or
turtle watching. I like that. There's a website out there for me to watch turtles.
Yeah.
Or engage in the activity of turtle watching, I guess.
Yeah.
Tall people.
Okay. Now,
there should be a website for tall people.
What classes is a tall person? Someone like
you're gonna have to go find the website and find that out, Chris.
The person who started this website could have been
back to us.
4 foot nothing. So most people are tall. To those.
There's your homework, Chris. Go find out what constitutes a tall person on the tall person website, the tall people website.
I'm writing it down.
Fish paintings, animal law, timber poles. God only knows what the motivation behind a website dedicated to timber poles was.
Yeah.
But I hope to God it's still running. I'd love to go on there and check out some timber poles. I mean, I would have. I don't mean to brag or anything, but I definitely would have a few good timber poles around me up here. Like,
you think
that would definitely be of interest to the. Oh, for sure, yeah.
Okay.
Couple of 3 out there.
Yeah.
Some with a bit of a bend in them and stuff. There's some different. Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. Okay. I could get on board with that. I don't know why we need a website for it, but I mean, what's that internet rule? It's like rule something like if it exists, there's a pornographic version. So it's probably there.
Fetishized timber poles.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. We've taken a slippy turn here, D.
Slippy.
Grease up that timber pole for me, will you? Before we go into our news of this week, I need to give a shout out to a couple of people this week. I said I would, who have got in contact with us through the medium of Instagram or the medium of the website or the internet. Sorry. Tell us that they're keeping up to date with the podcast. A couple of people who have listened to the podcast, who have sent us things for the podcast in the form of pictures and memes and things like that. So the main man, obviously, sent a picture in this week to us of our faces on the big screen, keeping up to date with episode 110 last week. Louise Gary wrote to us saying she was listening and laughing in the car while the woman in the car next to her was having a good look, which was always nice to hear. Big shout out to Marty Cunningham. You remember Marty from school?
Do surely, yeah.
I think he very much enjoyed the last podcast, the high school memories one. Has said that he has only recently get into the podcast, but loves what we're doing, and to keep it up. Kind words from Marty this week.
Thanks.
Thank you for finding us. There were a few more. I haven't wrote them down. I thought I had.
I like the people that are listening in the car.
Yeah, that's
just parked outside the house, you know.
Yeah, just if you want to listen to us, don't put your headphones on. Just go sit in the car.
Yeah.
But thank you to everybody who has got in touch with us this week, either with pictures or memes and stuff like that for us, because that kind of stuff, along with your questions, queries, comments, tidbits, everything, it makes this podcast go round. And we're very thankful. So thank you. Okay, let's do some news this week, D.
Okay.
Do you want to start? Or
I'll start. I have two pieces of news. One of them is reserved for the exclusive Caging the Beast segment. So
I'm so glad you brought up Caging the Beast segment. I thought that had died, that we didn't call it that, but we have to call it that. Yeah.
We have to keep up with that.
Maybe I'll get a sound effect of like a tiger roaring or something, and that will be Caging the Beast.
Yeah. Is he a tiger?
Who knows, really?
There needs to be some serious. You can't just like willy-nilly throw things out. Like we have to have some serious thought about what kind of animal the beast is for Nick Cage.
When I say beast, when I say beast, what do you think of?
I think more like bear. Like just like
just a big, formidable, fucking heavy set guy.
We're gonna have to. There's has to be some serious thought put into this. Much more thought than we put into our weekly topics.
You can't call Nick Cage a bear though, because in this day and age, bear could be like a
different connotation.
Different connotation. Yeah, I don't think we can say that. So maybe he's like some kind of. No, you know what? We're just not going down that road.
Moving swiftly onwards, so I get hung up on that one. Wife blows thousands on vet bills after a husband blames his farts on the dog.
Right.
Thousands in veterinarian bills. A wife has revealed she blew thousands on vet bills after her husband blamed his farts on the dog. The pregnant woman said her dog, Jerry, underwent expensive tests after she became concerned about his unbelievable and stinky gas. The ordeal started a month ago when the wife was left horrified by a really disgusting smell during dinner, which her husband claimed was caused by the dog. After weeks of panicking and mounting vet bills, her husband finally came clean. After weeks of panicking.
Why did he let this go on? I take it money is not an object for these people.
Angry, the wife kicked her husband out of the home and said he was even shunned by his own family over the low blow. Sharing her story on Reddit, the wife said it's been a stressful few weeks for the couple. I'm not sure if the couple refers to her and her husband or her and her dog.
Yeah. That's a strange one, D. Like, why would you let that go on for weeks, you know? First, I also love the fact that their dog is named Jerry. That's a fantastic name for a dog.
That's a great name. I feel like it reminds me of Jerry from Rick and Morty, and that's a perfect personification of him.
It reminded me of Jerry from Parks and Rec. That's why I went.
As well, yeah. Jerry's just a
Jerry.
Yeah,
I like that.
I can't get over him not saying anything.
I
understand blaming it on the dog once, like to avoid the fallout of dealing with that at the dinner table. But like the instant it starts, like I'm taking the dog to the vet, you can't be like, all right, dead on.
Yeah.
Like, fuck me.
I know that's fucking crazy. But like, how did the wife not know? Like, there is a distinct difference in the smell of a human fart and a dog fart. Like when the dog farts, you know.
I'm thinking that the husband should have really been going to a vet to check out. You know what I mean?
Spend thousands.
Like, I mean, we've all had one or two. Like, let's be real. We've all had one or two where like that was ungodly. Like something is wrong with me.
Yeah, that's right on a daily basis.
So this guy's got that on like an ongoing basis. He must just like eat nothing but like
A very high protein diet. Yeah.
very high protein, but like not good like fats as well.
Just something that's really gotta mess up the internal structure of
Just
the
non-stop
digestive
kebabs or something like
tract.
that.
Ooh,
Something like that. Yeah.
ooh, yeah. If that's the damage he's doing through like his gas, I'd hate to see the bowl after him because jeepers.
And split that bastard.
Yeah, he would. Thank you. That's a nice piece of news. Good start.
Yeah, it's amazing that some people,
hmm
have gas. It's
Um,
amazing stuff.
do you have a piece of news that came to light literally 2 hours before we went on air, if you like?
Yep.
There has been a thread of racist responses to the Sainsburys Christmas advertisement. Okay.
Okay.
So Sainsbury's is one of the big leaders in UK grocery shopping, and especially at Christmas will produce a series of advertisements, Christmas advertisements, like the likes of John Lewis do it, Tesco do it, Aldi and Lidl do it, and Sainsbury's, of course, do it. And everybody kind of looks forward to these advertisements at Christmas. You know, they're very high end. You know, they've kind of become a thing of competition in recent years.
Yeah, I was about to say there is big competition. They all like all the big shopping brands, supermarket brands have like their ad.
But Sainsbury's have come under attack with a thread of racist responses to the Sainsbury's Christmas advertisement. And for those who say racism isn't a problem in the UK anymore, on November 14th, Sainsbury's released the first of their 3 Christmas advertisements for the year 2020. The one that we've seen so far is titled Gravy Song, and features home photos and videos of a black family at Christmas as they discuss over the telephone whether they will be able to meet at Christmas this year for Dad's famous gravy. Okay? So that's the premise of the advertisement. Okay? But now, I'm sorry, I'm gonna read you out some of the tweets that came from people to Sainsbury's over because of this advertisement. Now, they're horrible, like, because it shows the mentality of people living in Britain nowadays. But I'm sorry, I couldn't help but like I wet myself at some of these because some of them are brutal. Like, let's start with this one. Where are the British people? Question mark. What fresh hell is this? That was one of the one of the tweets. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, white in all caps.
Oh my god.
It gets better, D. Possibly the worst Christmas ad I've ever seen. Well done, Sainsbury's. I'll shop at Tesco's. Carry on being woke and watch the share price drop.
I love people who do that. I love people who are like, "You're so screwed now," because you know why? Because I'm gonna go to Tesco's. So you are just so screwed because I'm not even a penny, I used to spend £35 a week at your shop, and it's not even going to you anymore. You're so screwed. Oh. Watch your stocks plummet.
Yeah.
Am I right?
You may as well rename yourself Blackberries.
What the fuck? Like,
yeah. See, I swear to God. Hang on. There's a few more. Where was that one? Jesus. Good advert. Looking forward to seeing the UK version.
Jesus Christ, like.
Another one just
Twitter,
said, Christmas in Nigeria.
Twitter is such a fucking cesspool.
Absolutely sickening was another one. We'll be switching channels every time this ad comes on. Well done, Sainsbury's, for jumping on the bandwagon. Certainly not a white Christmas. And the final one, just wondering whether in their portrayal of a, quote, typical black family, unquote, the male adult is actually the father of the children. Quite often, it isn't the case.
Fuck me, yeah.
Isn't that insane, D? That's what we're living. That's what we're living in 2020. That's what we're living.
What it is though, like it is. I will. There are absolute. There are.
It's insane.
I don't know what's the word to describe these people. Like they're just people who just like live in the dirt. Like
bigots.
There are bigots out there, but like Twitter is like the platform that just like everyone's like an equal on Twitter, but for some reason it's these people who come out like out of the weeds and get all of the attention.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's the vocal minority or whatever. I guess is
Yeah.
what it is. But Jesus Christ, like,
I mean, what happens though if like those people that said like I'm gonna go shop at Tesco's or I'm switching channels? What if John Lewis and Tesco both come out with advertisements featuring predominantly black families?
yeah, it's like they're not
What are they gonna do?
actually gonna do that. Like they're just saying that because they're
Yeah,
annoyed that
yeah.
I've been physically attacked by this ad. Like it's
As
a
if they believe,
television ad.
as if they believe that like the chairperson at Sainsbury's is gonna read that one tweet and be like, shit,
Yeah,
fuck, get down to Sandra's house, win her back at all
yeah.
costs. Doesn't matter what you do.
Sandra.
Go.
But the other thing as well is that I'm sure Sainsbury's and like Tesco and the like, they're not like they featured a black family in this ad probably because they're trying to push this thing that we're an inclusive.
That's
brand,
exactly what
you know
they
what I mean?
said they were doing. And this is the first
Yeah.
of 3 advertisements. Remember, okay? So the other
Oh,
2
so-
could feature a white family, and the final one could feature people from all races, mixed
Exactly,
religions.
yeah.
You know?
No, it's like I remember this happened a few years ago in America as well. I think it was some Super Bowl ad. I think it was McDonald's. Yeah, did like a Super Bowl ad, and it was like all of the different like ethnicities that make up America because it's got like loads of different.
Yeah.
So many people emigrate to America,
Mhm.
and people were like, all these white people were cracking up because they were like, "Oh no, I'm never going to McDonald's again." You're like, "Fuck me!" Like,
I wonder how that
it's not,
worked
it's
out
not
for them.
taking anything away from you. Like,
I
they're
know.
just
I know.
they're just like open. Yeah, just never mind. Just
It's
go
tough.
back under your rock or something.
Exactly. It's tough to live in a world like that. I swear to God. But unfortunately, this is the year 2020, and it's been a complete shitstorm so far. So, what's another couple of months to us?
That's it.
In other news this week, the sporting news. I'm just going to touch on 2 bits real quick. Dustin
Lewis
Johnson.
Hamilton won this.
Well, I was actually going to say Dustin Johnson first of all is the new green jacket winner at the Masters with a record scoring of 20 under par for the course, which was absolutely fucking insane for Augusta National. Now, yes, people are saying different time of year, different conditions. Yes, of course, but you can't take it away from him. He just walked away with that tournament.
There'll always be an asterisk for something, because of this year. Yeah.
Exactly. And yes, as you said, Lewis Hamilton has become the 7-time world champion. Formula One, just unbelievable, D. Absolutely phenomenal.
I don't really follow, but I did hear about this one because it's just obviously a massive achievement.
Mm-hmm.
Was it like more or less a foregone conclusion though for the season that he was going to, or was there actually a bit of competition?
There was competition at the start. He was starting to run away with it. This certain race, however, it was in Turkey. It was a track that they hadn't raced before, and the conditions were absolutely dire, like the wettest conditions I think I've ever seen. Now he started like 5th or 6th on the grid, I think, and he raced like no other and took the victory. And it was incredible to watch. It was insane, really, really nice. Surrounded by really good sports people, and it was just a really, really kind of wholesome thing to watch over the weekend. History again, more history.
He will win an 8th, will he?
He'll win an 8th. I think he'll win 10. I think he'll go for another couple, and then he'll probably retire, I'd imagine, or drop down a team or something. I don't know. I think he has it in him. Like he's
he's not like, what age is he?
Was he like 32, 33, something like that? He's one of the older drivers in it.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's the drop off age for Formula One?
I don't know. I mean, you've got
30s probably.
You've got like Kimi Räikkönen there, and he's 40, 41, I think. So as long as the team continues to give you a seat every year, which I have no doubt Mercedes will, he's got to be there for a while if he wants to stay with Mercedes. That is. But I mean, I think they're offering him like a $40 million contract next year. So like. It's insane.
That's crazy.
It's insane. To be fair, he is one of the best ambassadors for the sport, for this whole Black Lives, for equality and fairness in sport, for everything, And there's actually not a petition, but they're suggesting he be knighted now for his contribution in the sport, which is pretty cool, I guess. I mean, Mo Farah has been knighted.
Yeah, I was going to say they do knight people for this type of stuff, don't they? Like, I mean, that's like, if you're like world record equaling champion, supreme, I don't know. Yeah,
he is the greatest Formula One driver of all time.
He's the GOAT,
and he's British, he's black.
Oh yeah, exactly.
He's
They gotta do it
he,
like
yeah, he's
British.
He's one of the only black drivers there's ever been in Formula One. So
And
he's flying him.
arguably the best.
Yeah. Oh, without doubt. So yeah, there you go. Don't say we don't cover sport in this show. We do.
There you go.
We do.
Golf and Formula One.
Golf and Formula One every single week.
Ireland got hammered
Yes,
by
they
England
did.
in the football.
Yeah, they
That was
did.
the thing.
At the friendly.
Yeah.
What do you call? Who is Ireland's manager?
I don't even know. Stop paying attention. Like,
there's call for him to be sacked. This is his sixth clause.
Sack him if you want. Like, I don't think it's going to make a difference.
No, they're so bad. They're so fucking bad.
It would take someone really genuinely special to like drum up a decent team out of the Irish footballers.
Lewis Hamilton maybe could do it.
Yeah, maybe. Anyhow.
Here, don't go throwing names like that around. All right.
I wouldn't say it if I wasn't serious, Chris.
Eddie Howe would do amazing things. He's up there looking down on us. He guards the studio.
Scotland have qualified for the Euros.
Seen that as well.
Like not severe, but like immense national pride up in Scotland for that. They're very, very all chuffed about that. So it'd be nice to see them. I'm thinking they're probably going to be like the Ireland. Remember, like a couple of years ago, Ireland got to go to the Euros and like totally abysmal, but the fans were like really
fans were
like a treat.
They got commendated for their patriotism and their.
I think Scotland might be like that. Going
I hope so.
Kind of.
Yeah. I hope so. It'd be nice to see that. Yeah. I don't think I have any other sport news this week.
Oh no, I don't.
Okay.
Let's get some Nick Cage news up on this biz, and then we can move on to our main topic.
Yep.
So first, if we had music, we'd play it now. This is our Nick Cage segment, Caging the Beast, where basically we just bring you some tidbits about Nick Cage or some news if it is if it's topical, and we do have some news this week. The 1967 Ford Mustang from Gone in 60 Seconds has just went up for sale.
Okay.
So this is God, what was his name from that movie?
I'll get it for you. You go ahead with the news. I'll go.
I'm sure I'll stumble upon it here, but I just me and Man was on 2 weeks ago when he told us this, and we were like, oh yeah, how did we forget that? And I've forgotten it again.
Mm-hmm.
The car named Eleanor in the movie is that of Nicolas Cage's Randall Memphis Reigns.
There we go.
Randall Reigns.
Yeah.
Uses to pull off the most daring heists. The 1967 Mustang Shelby GT 500. It's like one of those like not antique, kind of like one of those muscle cars. Yeah. You always hear it in American movies, like, oh, it's a something Mustang or a Shelby or something like that.
There she is. Yeah, I've got a picture of it. I'm looking at the picture of her right now. It's a beaut.
Yeah, it's just a big muscle car.
Mm-hmm.
It's a classic. That's what it is. It's like a classic American car.
Yeah.
And sorry, I'm just trying to find out how much it's going to go for. No, I don't seem to have an estimate here, except that it's going up for auction. It's the original. They were selling replicas of it, so the Fusion Motor Company started making made-to-order replicas of it between $180,000 to $300,000 for a replica, and the real deal is expected to cost much more than that. So
that's serious.
You have a $500,000 or possibly $1 million to spare.
Mm-hmm.
You may be able to purchase, and you're a massive Nick Cage fan, you may be able to purchase the Ford Mustang.
Memphis Reigns, is that his name?
Yeah. Sorry, I've lost it again. Randall Reigns.
Randall Reigns. Sorry, yeah.
AKA Memphis.
That's a great name.
That's a movie I haven't seen in a long while.
No, that's Nick Cage, Angelina Jolie, Vinnie Jones.
There's it's basically Ocean's 11 except it's cars.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Kind of. Yeah, great movie.
Great movie.
I have to watch it again.
Yeah. Fantastic movie.
But that wraps it up for news and Nick Cage news.
Excellent.
This week.
Right, so before we jump into our main topic, let us just say that if you enjoy the audio version of this podcast, remember you can find the video version over at youtube.com/emptypromisepodcast. Or again, if you are watching the video version, you wish to take us with you on the go, the audio is available on any podcast hosting service. Just search for Empty Promise Podcast. You can get in touch with us through our social media. Twitter and Instagram work best for us with all your comments, questions, queries, tidbits, anything you wish to ask or put forward to the show. Please do it through there. Again, just search for the handle Empty Promise Podcast, and we will be in touch with you. Apart from that, I think you can get in contact through our website. No, through our email, which is the
empty promise empty promise podcast@gmail.com.
That's the one.
We do have a website as well, actually. Yeah,
is it
emptypromisepodcast.com? It's up, it's there.
There.
It's just basically just a link to the you find the latest podcast. Actually, find all the podcasts there. But we used to do like show notes and links and stuff, but we haven't really been doing that lately because nobody went to the website. So start going to the website, and we might start doing that again.
We would ask though, if you do listen on any podcast hosting service which allows for you to give us a rating, a thumbs up, a star, whatever the rating system may be on that site, to please do so, as that helps us out tremendously, and it only takes a couple of seconds. If you are watching the video version on YouTube again and you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up button. It helps us out immensely.
Drop us a comment as well.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. All that being said and done, I think it's time we hit our main topic for this week, D. That's what
is, of course,
what the candle is here for.
Yeah.
I'm getting heavy nuclear vibes.
I love like the candle is just like slowly irradiating you.
So the candle wax is melted, okay? And it's melting in this gorgeous kind of dark blue, indigo-y kind of color, okay? So I poured some of the wax back into the lid. And you can see it. Look at how beautiful.
Well, that's really cool, yeah.
Yeah. These are the things we do. It's real nice. Yeah. So
that's great.
Yeah. Sorry.
All you need to do is throw on your. Can you get it for PlayStation VR? I don't know. Put on your VR headset and you are there. You're in the wasteland.
Yeah. Yes. So let's get stuck into our main topic this week. Obviously it is surviving an apocalypse. We had to go with something in relation to or link to 111. So we chose the Fallout route.
Yeah, Fallout Vault 111 is your home or your origin. I don't know. Is it your safe haven from Fallout 4?
Yeah. It's where you went when the bombs dropped. Yeah.
We don't have vaults, but we're going to see how we would potentially survive a nuclear apocalypse.
So yeah, I don't know. How do you want to get stuck into this? How have you layered your thoughts?
Well, the way I've kind of done it is what I need to do. First of all, what I need to like survive. So basically, I've broken it down into there's going to be an explosion, then there's going to be like after effects of that. Like there's going to be an initial attack and then after effects, and then it kind of gets into like the more open ended like. After like basically the fall of civilization, what are we going to do to survive, or how is it possible to survive?
Yeah.
And I've kind of just like left that a bit more open ended because really you can't really guess. I mean, you can theoretically talk about what happens when a nuclear bomb falls because that's happened, but you can't really talk about what happens when society collapses because we've never survived through that before.
True. Where have you suggested at all where the nuclear weapons will fall? Have you chosen Ireland as a whole, or have you chosen like London, UK?
Yeah, so basically my interpretation is this is like all out Armageddon. So like Russia, America, North Korea, UK, everyone's just fucked a bunch of missiles at each other. And they've all targeted like population centers primarily, right?
The hubs, yeah.
Yeah, so like cities, big cities like London, obviously. Like I don't know, in UK we'll talk about like Manchester, like Glasgow, Edinburgh, stuff like that. Ireland, Belfast, Dublin, like maybe Galway, Cork, Derry, etc. That's the type of stuff I'm thinking. So yeah, I'm not thinking like just like every square inch of like the world has just been fucking annihilated because there's not much surviving that,
Yeah.
Before we jump into it, Chris, I'm gonna disappear for a second, but it's okay. I'm back
and reappear. Yeah. Anybody listening to the audio version will have no idea what just happened there.
Just take my word for it. I disappeared and now I'm back. My people needed me, so I had to.
Okay. Well, hit me up then with what you're thinking. So Are we getting an announcement that the bombs are going to be dropped? Do we know when this is coming? Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah. So right when I was reading into this, researching, I say
Yeah.
into this, the thing that came up recently is, do you remember in 2018 the Hawaii, the missile alert system went off in Hawaii?
Right.
So,
No, I
so
don't remember
basically,
this.
this is back whenever like North Korea were still, testing the waters about like, having a war and having nuclear armaments. And one day in Hawaii, they ran a test of basically the nuclear alert system to say like, they send out text messages to everybody. There was like speaker systems, TVs, and all got to send this message: seek
Okay.
immediate shelter, nuclear warheads or missiles incoming.
Shit. Right. Okay.
The problem was it was a test, but it triggered like the actual response. So all the people on the island didn't know it was a test. They just assumed we're being attacked, and like thousands of people were told like, find shelter, get inside,
Mm-hmm.
and get underground if you can.
Had they been previously like trained in this? Trained what to do? Did they have an actual?
No. This is just like, imagine you got a text on your phone right now saying, "Get inside, seek immediate shelter." Like, this is people,
right, okay.
regular people, no idea, not related to
Okay.
the operation that's happening at all. They just got told,
Okay.
take cover. You're about to die.
Okay.
You're about to be nuked. So like that genuinely happened, and that like you'll find like loads of really interesting stories on Reddit and stuff about people like, what did you do when you were told? Some people are like, we ran inside, and some people were like, I just stuck on a movie with the kids. We were just going to sit there and
just let it happen.
What's happening? Yeah.
Fucking hell, man! Jesus, I did not know this even happened. This is bizarre. This is horrible.
I'm pretty sure we covered it on a podcast episode when it happened back then.
Wow.
But it's mad, isn't it?
That's crazy, man. I don't even know what I would do if that was the case. I mean, it's okay having this theoretical discussion now that we're saying, oh, I do X, Y, and Z. But I mean, right now, if it popped up on both our screens now, seek cover, there's a nuke coming in.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. I don't know what
exactly,
I do. Yeah.
Well, see, we're going to educate the people a little bit here, Chris.
Okay.
We've got some advices. Some advices for you.
Good.
My first takeaway from all of this, from what I studied, right, is that it's surprising how much the chances you have of survival are surprising, I think.
They're higher than you would expect?
Quite a bit higher than I expected. So my interpretation of a nuclear bomb is like miles of just pure destruction. And
just obliteration. Yeah.
Exactly. Unsurvivable. You're dead. Like in an instant, you're just dead. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of quick and it's over.
Yeah.
But like the advice by like in that warning and like the general advice is get inside. Put as much like brick and mortar and steel and just objects between you and the outside as possible. So like if you have, a 2-story house, get downstairs, central location. If you have a basement, even better. Get down. Just put as much like, physical mass
between
you and like, the outdoors. Away from any windows or like things that can knock over.
Okay.
One thing that was came up is don't be in a car. So like if your instinct is like to just like hightail it out of there, like get away from like don't be in a car, because you have no protection from radiation. You have a good likelihood of being like flung, like the car will be like thrown off the road. And if you're not indoors and away from a window, you will be blinded by the flash of the bomb because it's so bright.
Wow.
So there'll be if you're on a busy road and no one can see, you could die from a car crash rather than the nuclear explosion.
Jesus.
This is brilliant as well. Like this is like if you find yourself out in the middle of nowhere and you're like not in the middle of nowhere, but you're not near a building or whatever, and there's a nuclear bomb incoming.
Dig a hole?
Literally dig a hole.
Yeah.
Dig a hole as fast as you can, lie face down, and like just pray.
Like a grave, basically. A shallow grave is what I'm picturing.
Yeah, dig yourself a grave.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, but the intention being that you won't actually need it, right? Just
that everything is just going to fucking run straight over the top of you here.
Wow. Exactly, yeah.
Jesus. Okay.
So that was that. So when reading all this, I guess I'll give an overview of like what is actually going to happen, right? So a nuclear bomb is coming down.
Mm-hmm.
Basically what happens is it'll either it'll either detonate above the ground or it'll actually hit the ground. So there's like ground burst and air burst, I think is what they're called. If it, wherever it detonates, there is about a mile zone that is insurvivable.
It's gone.
If you're in that mile zone, you're more than likely just instantly dead. This is for something like 100 kilotons, roughly.
Okay.
So like 100 kilotons is like maybe 5 or 6 times more powerful than Hiroshima, for reference.
Okay. And these kilotons are the measure in the measurements of these nuclear bombs.
Yeah. So I guess it's like this one nuclear bomb is the equivalent of 100 kilotons, 1,000 tons of dynamite. This is the equivalent of it going off.
Okay.
So you basically have 1 mile where it's insurvivable.
What did you say there? Approximately how many kilotons? Because I just
100.
Jesus, right? Okay, yeah. Hiroshima was approximately 15.
Yeah. So this is a big boy.
Yeah, this is the granddaddy. This boy that's coming down. Okay.
So my whole thing was like, right, basically everyone's firing missiles at each other. A slightly more realistic, if you want to say realistic, or slightly more potential thing to happen is that like North Korea, maybe, or a rogue nation, someone who like learns how to create these weapons, who would actually use them. They probably wouldn't be able to create bombs 100 kilotons, more like 10, more like the level of Hiroshima. It's only like big hitters like US, Russia, UK who can actually send off these bigger bombs. But they're the ones who are least likely to use them because the whole mutually assured destruction thing.
Yeah.
So basically, right, bomb goes off, 1 mile zone. You were just like, basically what happens is there's a bright flash of light, a pulse of thermal energy, and a pulse of nuclear energy. So the bright flash of light is bomb going off. The thermal energy is something that would just melt the skin right off of your body within a mile. And the nuclear energy is like, it's just like radioactive like material. It's just like shot out at the speed of light. That all happens at the speed of light, essentially. So if you're within 1 mile, you basically just die.
You're gone.
Pretty much. Like, you burn to death, or the radiation just completely wrecks your internal system, your internal body. And there's a fireball for good measure that comes after, and that's all within 1 mile. The further out you go, this kind of like that loses its speed pretty rapidly. So like the thermal energy cools quickly. The what was the one? The radiation, it kind of like loses its potency.
Mm-hmm.
The further out you go, the risk becomes more about the fact that there's a shock wave that got sent.
Okay. So like a massive earthquake?
Exactly. It's almost like, more like being an earthquake. You're more likely to die from buildings collapsing, stuff falling on you, stuff like that, the further out you go. If you're outside that 1 mile radius, the radiation becomes survivable. But if you're not indoors, like if you're indoors, it's way, like realistically, it's way more survivable.
So would the radiation kill you immediately, or is this just something that we need to be thinking more in terms of long term with radiation?
Slightly more long term.
Yeah, so it's not like the radiation, like if you're like 3 or 4 miles out, the radiation isn't going to kill you immediately.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's not.
Yeah.
It just means that if you're 3 or 4 miles out, but you're not indoors, you don't have any protection, there's a good chance that the level of radiation that hits you is going to be enough to kill you.
Okay.
So your body stops being able to heal itself. You will eventually die. You'll develop cancer. You'll die a lot quicker.
Yeah.
Whereas if you happen to be like even behind like one wall, like literally one wall, it goes, the amount of radiation that makes it through that surface goes way down.
Okay.
And you have a much better chance of surviving. That's why they say get inside and get yourself surrounded by stuff.
Yeah.
Because if you do survive the blast, you have a much better chance of surviving the radiation.
If you have a lead line fridge,
hop in. You're gonna be fine, despite the fact it's gonna throw you like 1,000 meters.
Yeah,
and your spine is gonna sever. So pretty much, if you're not in the epicenter.
Mm-hmm.
And you're indoors and you're kind of like not your building doesn't get destroyed, you actually have I wouldn't say decent, but like it's not just guaranteed death. You have a chance of surviving.
Yeah.
So the heat doesn't burn you, and the shockwave doesn't knock down your building and cave in on you. If you survive that, right, the next thing you have to worry about is the fallout.
Yeah.
The eponymous
the long
materials.
lasting. Yeah.
So I was shocked by this as well. So basically, first of all, I was shocked at the fact that a blast can go off, and a bomb can go off, and you have an actual chance of surviving it. Like, I just assumed it was
just lights
death.
out at that point. Yeah. Yeah. So what
This is an interesting tidbit that I found, right? There were survivors at Hiroshima 300 meters from the epicenter of the explosion.
No way.
300 meters. They were in buildings and stuff like that. And they survived for a long time after. And they eventually did die from radiation and stuff like that.
Jesus.
Because they were so close. But they survived the blast. They made it out of the city, and they lived for years after.
Christ.
Which is pretty mad.
That's insane. 300 meters. I mean, obviously they didn't stand around to witness such a blast. I'm assuming, like you said, they took cover and just
happened. They didn't really have much warning, so they just happened to be inside. That was another weird thing I was reading about, because you have to think today we have a notion of nuclear annihilation, right? Back then they just was it was all theoretical. They'd heard maybe about US having nuclear bombs, but all they saw was just a plane flying over, and
they didn't know of the implications of such a devastating device.
So for me, right, this is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking living in Belfast right now, pretty close to the center. I'm gonna assume that I'm not here when that happens.
Yeah.
When the bomb falls.
So
that it's a couple of miles away, it misses or something.
Are you back home, maybe visiting parents back home? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm back home for the weekend. Yeah. Whereas I'm assuming for you that you're gonna be where you are now.
Yeah.
Fairly far away from really any big population center. The closest is probably Armagh, right?
No, this is the one day I went shopping to Belfast.
Belfast, yeah.
Stuck in the city centre.
Immediate. But even if I didn't, this is the other thing I was thinking. Even if I happen to be right here where I am now, and a bomb goes off, I am beside a window, so it may shatter and cut me to pieces.
Yeah.
Whoops.
Don't really need that to happen. You could drop it. Or
I could, yeah.
Just pray.
I might be okay. There's a chance I could survive, which shocked me.
Yeah.
There's a chance, small as it may be. The next thing, like I said, is the fallout. So, nuclear bomb goes off. It sends out this pulse of radiation. That's immediate. That just gets nearly at the speed of light. Just goes through. Just gets sent straight out, right?
Yeah.
But because this bomb has basically kicked up, it's broken down buildings and stuff, and it's kicked up all this dirt and stuff, and it's shot it's radiation into all of those materials. Those things go way up into the sky, way up into the atmosphere.
And this when they're just a big cloud, a big fucking radioactive.
Pretty much, yeah. You imagine the mushroom cloud, right? This is all this stuff going up, and all of that is now radioactive.
Yeah.
This is the thing that I was right. You remember Chernobyl and all that is the effects of it were felt across countries, because it got up into the air, and then just the air pressure started doing its work and started sending these things across the country, all over the place. So after a bomb, over the next 24 hours, it's basically going to be raining down highly radioactive material, which contaminates everything it touches. It's not literal rain, although that can happen. It's called black rain.
Yeah, I was just about to ask. So this isn't rain as in what we know it, water particles from the sky. Are you talking about it's raining down just debris and dirt and shit? It's
almost
like
smoke, probably.
Yeah.
It probably isn't even that visible. It could be invisible. It could be so small. But even if it's tiny, even if it's a what do you call it? Microscopic, that is, if it sits on your skin, that's as good as touching it.
Yeah.
will contaminate absolutely everything. So like if it gets on you, on your skin, like it's on you. If it gets on your clothing and stuff like that, you have to take that off. You have to get that burnt. Wash yourself as as much as you can, but not with water that has been outside. So
Yeah.
bottled water, stuff that's been inside.
Yeah.
Ideally bottled and sealed, so that when you're
Mhm.
using it, it's as protected as it can
Yeah.
be. Gotta wash frequently, burn items, like I said. 750 millisieverts of exposure over several hours will make a person sick. So that's like the floor.
That's the baseline. Yeah.
Yeah, to get radiation poisoning, it's 750 millisieverts of exposure.
And what are we talking, like, what would subject a person to that level of exposure? Is that like being outside for like an hour, or is that being, do we know, or
Several hours? So like
several hours?
one to 2 hours will stay, right?
Okay.
The immediate blast radius, so we're talking like, say, 5 miles from the epicenter,
Mm-hmm.
that will exceed 750, no problem.
Yeah.
So this is where it kind of gets weird. So if it happened here in Belfast and I survived,
Mm-hmm.
but it only happened like 2 miles away,
Mm-hmm.
there's a good chance that me staying here, even though I'm indoors, I'll still die from radioactive sickness, we'll say.
Mm-hmm.
So the advice from like all these, like, the American government and stuff like that is stay indoors, keep yourself sheltered for 24 hours minimum.
Okay.
24 to 48 hours, because that's when the majority of the stuff comes down, is over the next like day or two. But if you're in a place that's like in the epicenter and you think you can get somewhere better sheltered, you can move in like the hours after the bomb. But get yourself sheltered as soon as possible, essentially.
Okay.
So I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do, right?
Yeah.
But for you out there in Downers,
out in the sticks, yeah, I'm pretty, like, from, if we're talking like Belfast, like I'm what am I, 20, 30, but what, 40 miles from Belfast?
Yeah, you're good. 40 or 50 miles.
Yeah. Okay. So my biggest worry here is probably just like the radiation.
Exactly. It coming
the fallout
across, into the sky and just coming down on you.
Okay.
But yeah, again, I was surprised by like 24 hours. Like that is normally good enough. Not normally, but like that's expected to be good enough. Like that's when the majority of like all the radioactive material falls, is over the next day.
Mm-hmm.
So after that, you should be like reasonably safe to move. Which shocked me, because I was like, this is going to be like weeks, months, years of like, up in the atmosphere and falling down.
Mm-hmm.
But then, because I think most of it is quite heavy, like, it's heavy stuff, like it's dirt and stuff like that. It does fall down pretty quickly. It's the lighter stuff that can like persist, but it's also less likely to, there's less physical material to actually contaminate you. One thing you can do is tape plastic over your doorways and windows to prevent any like seepage.
Really? So plastic will help that?
Pretty much, yeah. It's basically like stopping airflow, I think. It's like,
oh, okay.
You don't want to be breathing that stuff in, that like particulate radiation.
Okay.
Drink bottled water, prepackaged food, tins of beans, all the good stuff.
Yeah. All the things that you see in typical like survival foods and bunkers and shelters and things. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So you have a bunker or a basement stocked up with some tinned foods and bottled water, you're in pretty good shape. Like,
yeah. I don't know many people that actually have basements around where we live.
Basements are not a big thing here.
They're not that common. Yeah, as you say, here being Ireland.
Yeah.
And even so, they're not as common anymore in this day and age as they were maybe 20, 30 years ago.
The places where they'd probably be big is like America, like in like Tornado Valley and all those places.
Mm-hmm. Oklahoma.
They need them basements, man. But yeah, Chris, there you go. That's how to survive the nuclear explosion.
Okay.
Yeah, possibly. The next part is the kind of I almost said fun part.
Yeah, this is the spectacle. I feel like this is where we conjure up how we would actually survive ourselves in such a world.
How to survive post-nuclear
Yeah.
annihilation.
Well, are you taking it from the point that you're still in Belfast, or are you going to be home for this?
So this is my list, right?
Okay.
How I would survive, right? Number one is survive initial blast. Haven't went in too much into depth on that because I figure a large percentage of that's going to be luck. It's going to be either are you within the mile of the bomb going off or not? If you are, then do you have good enough cover? I'm just assuming, based on the information we just went over, like I survived the blast.
Mm-hmm.
Priority number one is get to Darnus, get pretty much
Get back home.
to
Okay.
my home house. Yeah.
Yeah.
My logic for this is rural, right? So
Yeah.
probably going to be pretty far from like where the bombs dropped.
Yeah.
Also going to be pretty far from other people.
Yeah.
Who are a bit of concern now.
Yeah. I that's something I've put down as well, because when this happens, look, you've seen what happened when we were told that like grocery stores were going to be could potentially close for a couple of days. People went fucking nuts. Like we're talking looting, rioting. People are just going to resolve back to being just complete savages here, D.
That's it. Like you have to, see, like before COVID, I would have been like, I don't think many people are going to be like that. I still think not many people are going to be like that, but now I'm more convinced that the people who are going to be like that will be like a genuine concern, not just like fucking loopers who just like go into this stuff. I'm like, they will genuinely be like, I need food. I know that guy next door has food. I'm going to go take his food.
Yeah.
I believe that happens. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So like if you're in a city, I think, especially because it's going to be the hardest hit, I think it's going to be nasty business. So that's why I'm like, the fuck out of the city.
Get out of Dodge. Yeah.
French.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, I would agree with that. Looting, fighting, gangs, they're all going to be very real kind of threats, especially in what was once very urban areas, and areas containing I guess foods, grocery stuffs, medicines, things like that, things that people think they need now.
Yep.
Yeah, there's going to be a war on that type of stuff. So
it's going to be a war for water. Bottled water is going to be like the most.
Yeah, this is what
it's going to be like gold.
One of the key things I put down in mind was if you can find somewhere maybe that has a whale, a natural spring, which is going to come from in the earth. That water could be pretty safe, I would imagine, from the kind of fallout that's happening around the earth, if that makes sense.
See, that's it as well. It's like, I think it will be safe for a while, but then eventually, like, because all the water eventually like filters down to the water table and like reaches in. That was another reason I said to Darius, because I shouldn't be telling anybody this because there's a nuclear apocalypse. I don't want you coming around, but there is do you remember there's like an old closed up well out the back of ours?
Yeah.
So I was like, we should have water. Like, and if not that, there is a stream that runs by the house. Right. So I was like, I definitely will have some form of water.
There's one up behind us here, up beside my dad's home place as well. There's one up there. So
exactly. So we'll have water access at least. We may have to filter it somehow.
Yeah.
Through like sand and rocks and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking as well. Yeah, no, go on ahead. I'll get to that.
Yeah, that was like one of my other things for getting home was for that, right?
So are you going to get home by driving, or are you going to get home on foot?
Don't you worry. Bicycles is my thing. I just have bicycles for mobility. That's what I've written. Because I'm like, cars, just right. You could maybe get by with cars for a while, but realistically, like, they need petrol or diesel, right? They need fuel. Yeah. And no one's going to be supplying the fuel anymore.
No.
They're big and they're bulky. So eventually, like, there's going to be cars packed up on all of the roads.
Yeah.
And people are just going to abandon them. They're not realistically going to try and get their car moved. So all of those like things are going to be pretty difficult to navigate. So you need to be like, you need to not need fuel, right? And you need to be like nimble. You need to be able to move around things. So I'm like, bicycles perfect. Like,
yeah, bicycles are great.
It's going to take you a while to get anywhere, but like
it's
quicker than walking.
It's quicker than walking, yeah.
And like, I guess they'll probably become like a pretty competed resource as well. Bicycles.
Yeah. As well as bicycles, you need to remember that like you're going to have bicycle repair kits as such.
Yeah,
You know?
puncture kits.
Yeah, puncture kits, spare wheels, rims, the whole lot. You're gonna need everything if you plan on making this a long-term thing.
Yeah. But I mean, realistically, like if you don't have that, like yeah, you always have your own 2 feet, like, and
Yeah, humans can move
50
mileage.
miles, is that the difference you were saying? 50, we'll
I
say
say about
50 miles.
50 miles. I think 50 miles takes me from my house to Belfast Airport. So
You could do 50 miles in a day or two, like,
or you could do 50 miles
non-stop
in a
walk.
day. Yeah.
Stop sleeping, stuff like that, and
Mhm,
rest. But you
mhm.
could definitely, it wouldn't take any age to do it,
No.
so it's doable. Yeah, that's basically it. I would get home for that. That's how I'd like start up.
Okay, good.
Um,
At least you're back just down the road from me.
that's it. Yeah, we can meet up and still do the podcast.
I was going to say we can do the apocalyptic podcast.
Yeah,
We'll be the people who start like the pirate radio that keeps people's spirits up,
yeah. Over like the ham radio systems.
Yeah,
People will
exactly.
tune in,
Yeah.
bringing you the news, no matter how bad it is.
I like that.
It'll be us.
Yeah.
It'll be us.
I mean, that's what we tend to do on a weekly basis anyway. So
We'll play really old 1930s, 1940s music.
I don't get why that was a thing in like Fallout. Why were these people living in like 77 and still listening to like 50s music?
The thing with Fallout was
Is that when the bombs dropped?
yeah, like that was popular in 2077. Like
Right,
their whole
okay.
thing is like instead of what was the big change? I think yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah, so
they
they
embraced
embraced the nuclear kind of fusion
nuclear
and
energy. Yeah,
used
so they
it
never
for-
they never went through the whole like 60s thing in America where like
yeah, okay.
people rebelled against the government and everyone perpetually lived in the 50s,
Yeah,
the good old days.
Yeah, they thrived as a species instead. Yeah.
Yeah. So we get stuck with the 50s music for eternity.
Here,
So
you could be listening
if
to a
that-
lot worse. I would take 50s music over today's bullshit any day of these.
Well, that's it. But if in the same circumstances, all we would have is today's bullshit. That would be the music. that
Oh,
was
Jesus
big.
Christ. Yeah,
at the time of-
I can't think of much else worse. Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Jesus
Could you imagine
Christ.
a Fallout game made with like our music now, where like that is the music that you'd be listening to?
Oh, no.
No,
I wouldn't play it.
no. I wouldn't want to survive in a world like that. Anyway, sorry, get back to it. Yes. I've actually wrote down that radios, just on the subject of radios, signal is something that's going to become a huge thing. And radios, I'm assuming, will still have the functionalities needed by humans, because if a nuke were to drop, I don't think we'd have. I'm assuming because of the electromagnetism, we're not going to have like satellites and things. So we may have to go back to the good old wireless and radio, like analog signal.
I think you're 100% right.
Mm.
Like we'll lose, like TV will be gone, internet will be gone.
Mm-hmm.
Anything that needs like a really big infrastructure will be gone.
Yeah.
Like electrical infrastructure, so like yeah, internet, TV, all that stuff. But like the radio is just, you have one big radio tower that transmits, and you have all these receivers, and that's it. You don't need to like link everything together and have everything running. Either your radio is turned on or it's not.
Yeah.
So like that's one of the things like I wrote down a bit about was EMP, electromagnetic pulse, would knock out most electronic services.
Mm-hmm.
So like okay, obvious ways, that's internet, your phone, television, etc. Radio will go down for a bit. But like bigger picture, you're talking like GPS is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you said, satellites, like any communications there will probably be
power in general. Electricity in general would probably cease to exist unless run through generators.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like
we're not going to have like lights.
You could still generate it, but at the minute no one does. Like we're all dependent on the grid.
The grid, yeah.
So if unless someone is around keeping the grid up, which who's going to do that when no one's getting paid for it?
Exactly.
It's up to yourself.
Yeah. So if the grid went down, we would be left with either generators, or I mean, if you're fortunate enough to have like a wind turbine, I would imagine you might be able to harness some of that power. Solar power would probably no. solar power might not work as well now, seeing that there's a fucking giant cloud of radioactive material in the sky.
That is something I have here, which is like kind of what we're talking about now is the optimistic scenario.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a more dire scenario where I'm
Oh,
like, what realistically might happen.
where I am. That's where I'm always positioned. That way, if anything good happens, it's just a bonus D.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, you're right. Like about the solar thing, the solar panels may not work effectively enough, due to like how much. Like if we're talking worldwide, like nuclear annihilation, the amount of like physical matter that gets kicked up into the atmosphere
Yeah,
would literally like it would reduce the amount of sunlight that reaches the surface. Like it would
yeah.
have a pronounced effect. So your solar panels wouldn't work as well if you have them in the first place.
Okay.
To expand on that a little, I mean, I kind of want to talk. Actually, no, I'll talk a little bit more about like what we're gonna do to survive.
Yeah.
If we can.
Yeah, of course.
Because you said no electricity.
Mm-hmm.
I think just you have to learn to live without it. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gas, lanterns.
Gas. But again, that's a resource that's gonna very quickly dwindle, and then there's gonna be obviously fucking wars over gas.
What the other reason that I said back home is because firewood. It's not exactly plentiful, but like it is within reach.
Yeah.
And there's less competition for it compared to a city.
One of the main things I wrote down is fire is going to be key. Fire is going to be key for a lot of things here, for light, for warmth, for cooking, for everything basically. Fire is going to be one of the big ones.
Exactly.
Although I was thinking, even though I'm living literally on the cusp of a forest, with that fallout, I'm pretty sure most of these trees are going to disintegrate, demolish. Yeah.
They'll die, like,
yeah,
probably.
Yeah. I mean, I might still have wood, but I don't know how clean that wood would be to harvest, to gather.
It's true. Like the smoke that comes off of that wood could very well be radioactive. Like you probably couldn't even burn that inside the house.
Yeah.
I didn't even think of that. That's a real problem as well.
Yeah. I mean, if you have one of those like little stoves, you might be okay because it's not burning on like an open fire. But
even at that, like the smoke that's going up into the assuming it's not super bad, right? Out in where we are, you know, and that you can burn the wood.
Yeah.
A lot of assumptions being made here, but I mean, like in this situation, you can only assume, like, because you won't know. You won't be able to go out and test the radioactivity of the wood.
I mean, it's what people are going to do anyway because they need to survive. Yeah.
It's either that or freeze to death or starve to death. Or, you know, whatever.
Well, none of those sound appealing to me at all.
No.
I think I'd rather starve to death than freeze to death.
I guess so, yeah.
Both are pretty grim.
Yeah. Not a fun option.
But I'd rather be warm with an empty belly than, you know.
Start eating the wood.
Oh. Okay. Different. Well, it's funny. Like we're talking of surviving here. One of my key kind of points was, I don't know how long I would probably wait here before possibly making a move towards the coast. I had thought about coastal. I'm just again assuming coastal would be slightly cleaner. I don't know why.
I think it's because it's like the wind is always kind of like rolling in.
That you have a supply of water, which I know you obviously can't drink, but
you have to boil it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, the water on the planet is more than likely going to be well contaminated, but there is food if you can find your way around the radioactive.
That's a really good idea, actually, for like fish for food. Because that was one of the things as well. I was like, you basically living in here, you would have to go like full vegetarian.
It's hunter-gatherer again. But this is interesting. I listened to a podcast about this in preparation for this, and the guy who was doing the podcast was talking to an experienced hunter and a bow hunter, and he was actually saying like people seem to have this misconception that oh, it's fine. I'll just become a hunter-gatherer. You know, I'll catch some rabbits, skin them. That is not how hunting. It is not an easy thing to do.
No,
It is
no.
not an easy thing, especially if you, like us, like I don't have any weapons. We're not a family who have weapons. I don't have any. I mean, I could make a very, very rustic bow and arrow.
I have a bow.
I don't think I would be able to kill a rabbit with it. I don't think I'd have the patience to kill a rabbit with it.
No, 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 no.
It's a very difficult thing to do. That is why we have professional hunters. You know, it shows you the level of just how good you have to be to do this thing. It's not a case of I'll just go out and, you know, I'll catch a deer and I'll live off that for a couple of months. This is not how this is going to be.
No, just fuck all deer.
And the animals are going to get wise to this shit too, you know?
See, that's the thing as well, though. I think if the animals ever get a chance to get wise, because they're going to be, it's literally, as you say, everyone's going to be having the same idea. So they're all going to be trying to hunt. Yeah. And at least a certain percentage of them are going to be successful. So there's a good chance that all of the wildlife will just be hunted to pure extinction.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean everything. Because you think how desperate people will be for food. Like,
oh man,
rabbits,
cats, dogs, everything.
Rats,
yeah.
Everything, you know? That's why, like, I've literally I haven't even considered hunting, like, as a realistic possibility. This is the way forward, Chris. Yeah. Potatoes.
Yeah, but we've talked about this before about potatoes, yeah, because they grow and everything. But again, I've wrote that down as well. While I agree with potatoes being like the optimum fuel source and choice, I don't know how well they take to soil that has been contaminated. Would we have to have soil that is already been preserved from the blast? Or are we good to just start digging? Like if we dig down deep enough, is the soil...
Exactly, yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much, it's like, so like the soil is like, it's a pretty good, like, it's one of those things as well.
It's a filter, like, isn't it?
Yeah, you want it to be between you and the blast, essentially.
Okay.
So like if you go down like a couple of feet, like that soil is pretty much untouched. It's all the topsoil that's all falling on, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's not going to be your problem, the soil, because I haven't touched on the thing that's going to be the problem yet.
Is the thing that's going to be the problem the water?
Nope.
The sun?
Because it'll all rain. It's the sun. So
artificial light. Yeah, right now.
We're assuming for now, right, that we can grow potatoes, right? That they just grow and we're okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying grow potatoes, grow carrots, any of like the hardy like vegetables that kind of just grow, and they can survive in, without you being an expert in how to grow them.
Yeah,
essentially.
Yeah.
It's basically whatever you get your hands on, that's what you'll grow. If you, I'll maybe talk about this in a minute whenever we cover the other thing. The other thing would be foraging, not hunting, foraging.
Foraging, yeah.
So berries, whatever like wild foods you come across. Like there's some certain things you can eat.
Oh, there's
pretty much
like,
berries,
leaves, plants, roots, berries. There's
you'd work out very fast what you can stomach, essentially.
Yeah, and what you shouldn't. We live in a country though that there's apart from like fungi and things, most things they're edible and digestible without having too severe a consequence, I think.
Yeah, you could sort of just take a chance.
That's the other thing. Just as you were there talking about growing crops and needing sunlight, mushrooms would be a great thing.
True.
Mushrooms
actually,
don't need sunlight. Mushrooms grow in the dark. They can grow under a candle. So if you're able to drum up some kind of mushroom, I know they need a decent amount of heat, but I mean a mushroom farm. If you're able to make stews and broths out of mushrooms, you're going to get a good few vitamins from those. I'm not saying it's got to be enough to keep you, but it's a start. You
have to think as well, your family and loved ones, whoever you have around you.
Exactly. Yeah.
You have a lot of mouths to feed, probably. You'll be working together.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that kind of rounds out like what my plan essentially is to survive, is get back home to there, grow whatever food I can, forage whatever I can, filter the water that we have. We have lots of like tools and stuff at home already, so like we'd be pretty well equipped to sort of just start out. You'd have, as I said, bikes for mobility to try and get places if I do need stuff, and for protection, I have a bow and arrow.
Yeah, I've seen your bow and arrow. Your bow and arrow. I mean, I wouldn't want to get hit with the thing. So
yeah, I don't think it could hurt. I don't think I could kill anybody, but it would definitely be a deterrent enough. Like it could put an eye out. We'll say.
Did you just say there that you don't think you could kill anybody, or you don't think your bow is capable of killing?
that bow is not capable of killing.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know, man.
I
I've seen that thing fired into like a wooden door. I mean, that hits skin. That's going to do some serious damage. And you hit an organ.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
If
like,
if you got lucky, I think, yeah. But like compared to like, you know, like like there's bows out there that could definitely do it, is what
oh
I'm
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm not proficient with a bow anyway.
Okay.
Kind of
Yeah.
a much more effective tool would be a bat or a chunk of wood with a nail, and it would be better already. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
You'd find ways of protect yourself.
Another good food source, I think, although I don't know how we would grow it again without the sun, would be some kind of grain. So some kind of like
wheat.
oats, barley, that kind of thing. Can can be made into a lot of things. Flour being the main one, and a lot of things can be made from flour. But again, without the sun,
I think for as well those things as well. It's like you'd need a bit of you need time to grow the wheat and then to mill it into flour and then to make bread from that.
Yeah.
It's like I think early on it will have to be like things like potatoes and stuff where you can just grow it and then you can just eat it.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
You'll starve before you get the other stuff done.
Yeah. That's more of a long-term project, I think.
So oh yeah, sorry. I just wanted to say as well, like the idea of going to the coast and like fishing for food. I think that's a great idea because like that's like your protein sorted. That's your like meat.
Yeah,
sorted.
Yeah. As you say though, there's going to be a lot of people with the same idea, and where there's people, there's going to be some kind of tension as well.
Competition for resources, like it's you're going back to.
I would like to think that we'll enter some kind of like bartering system, or be able to provide resources or services in exchange for foods. Yeah, I mean any good river would provide you with any fast flowing river. You'll also get fish and things as well.
Would be overfish though? Like would we get it to a state where?
Well, that's it. If you were able to catch fish, catch a couple, there's nothing saying you can't repopulate like the fish population,
Yeah, I wouldn't have a clue about that.
By breeding them. I don't think it's just a case of throwing a male fish and a female fish into a bath or anything but there's definitely
toss it in the bath.
You could get smart on these things,
Yeah, but that's what you would need. Like you'd have to go back to like a time where like the specialists are the people who know how to fish and how to like build things.
Yeah.
Well, those are the specialists today, I guess.
Yeah, I've also wrote that any kind of food that you kind of produce, if you're able to produce either an excess or a bit extra, I guess, to can it, preserve it, that kind of thing. Any meats that you happen to come across, salt them, keep them, use those as like long-term food sources.
It's a grim way of living compared to today with our excesses and our cans of soda pop and our internet and
100%. Yeah, it is.
Food delivered to our door. And all
I also think a decent team would be needed. I wrote down a team because it'd be hard to go this alone. A team, like if you and I were to combine resources, and form a team, something like that, just combine with people that and that you trust, and you can send so many people out for, you need to start thinking about, starting another civilization basically. And
I think you're totally right.
People to do certain jobs and go to certain places, because if you cannot do everything, you're going to need people to stay and man the crops and till the ground, and then you're going to need people to travel and look for medical supplies and do X, Y, and Z, and you need people to go and get water. And
you're going to need a person who knows how to hunt, because not everyone does. You need that one person. You need to find that person who can teach the rest of your people to do it. You need that person who knows how to breed fish or whatever. You need to find the people who know what to do and what not to do to not fuck this up.
I think
but then that also exposes you to risk as well, because you're like, you have to trust people.
Yeah, well, that's it.
Trusting people, they may come and steal all of the potatoes that you've been growing to try and barter with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. That's a big concern as well. I think as well, like most townlands as we know them, I think would be very what's the word, like segregation will become a big thing.
I think you're right, actually. Yeah, I
You
think
know,
like it would go back to like our tribalistic origins.
yeah. I think the likes of like Derry Noose might be able to band together, whereas Katie might band together.
Mm,
The city of Armagh is too big a place, I think, to ban.
yeah, it would
That's a fucking
split.
free for all in there, dude.
Yeah,
You know,
but even I think even at like the level of like Derry News, which is a very small, sort of population center, we'll say, like even it wouldn't, I don't think would
would band
band
together
together.
too well. No.
I think you'd have multiple factions within it.
Yeah, maybe we need to be thinking more in terms of townlands within Derry News as such.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Like even
very
smaller and smaller.
smaller. Yeah,
You could just have families just go like this is it. This is our clan. Like, that's how far how tribalistic we get.
where
We have a clan,
where I
and you can be
happen
part of it, or you can be not part of it.
where I happen to live, on the Caledon line, D, is a 3 mile stretch of road that will connect two major kind of areas. So I think if the Caledon line came together, we could take control of this road,
That's it.
and we
And
could.
then you make it the only road.
You see, you need to.
And then everyone who comes through pays tax.
Well, that's it. You need to start establishing trading routes and things as well, don't you? You know,
That's it. Like, it's a big undertaking, Chris.
you
I
need,
definitely. I
you need
wasn't
animals
thinking.
for these things. You're going to need horse and cart and things like that. And then I don't want to be the one to put this out here as well, okay? But like, we don't know what effect this radiation is going to have on people. So I went down the line of like zombies.
Yeah,
That's a real thing. That could be a thing too. Who fucking
yeah.
knows?
Like
Cannibalism and fucking
yeah, that
cannibalism
could be
could
a
be
real fucking
a
thing.
real fucking problem. Yeah, I've played enough fucking games and seen enough movies to know that this shit's got to go on.
Like just a group of people who like figured out it's pretty easy just to kill people and eat them.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's crazy.
Would you like me to tell you? Sorry, go ahead.
Did you have any like, because we're obviously pulling from like sources that we know or inspirations that we know, like from video games and from movies. Was there anything one particular like in your mind that you were thinking of while you were drawing up like these kind of plans, or?
Not really, actually. A couple of different sources, like surprisingly, not really Fallout at all.
Fallout was not one of mine either. I tell you
Yeah.
what was one of mine was The Last of Us. Actually,
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
the kind of communities I was thinking of, and
Kind of a Last of Us, Walking Dead.
oh yes, Walking Dead, yeah, excellent, yeah.
I Am Legend to
Yep.
a certain degree.
Uh,
The Martian.
Yeah,
My inspiration for potatoes.
because potatoes can grow anywhere. Yeah,
Exactly. A few different places like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's interesting. Yeah, no, I just wanted to know.
Book of Eli as well.
Man, that's a dire movie. Like,
Great movie.
great
but
movie. Yeah.
Dire circumstances. I
Yeah.
agree.
Like, imagine that. Like, books are going to become knowledge again. Books are going to be where it's all at.
Exactly. If you have books, you have like power in a way,
Yeah.
because you have that information that no one else has.
You have the knowledge, and then like
If you found a book on fishing, like that is really, really valuable now compared to
yeah.
when everyone could just Google it. You
Yeah.
now have the golden source on fishing.
the encyclopedia of fishing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now people will come to you to find out how to fish properly.
The complete apocalyptic guide on fishing in local tributaries. Tributaries? Is that the word? But like, how would that work? Going back down like the road of the Book of Eli, how would that work in terms of like religion? Like with the Holy Bible, like King James's Bible, would that become like the most sought after book so that people can?
You know what though?
Start?
Maybe people will like. So people would probably interpret it. The way people would interpret like Armageddon, or no, what do you call it in the Bible? Exodus. Yeah.
Exodus. Yeah.
They would say this is Exodus, and you'd probably have like people who are like, "Oh, this is the rapture."
Of course.
And like you would have like all these offshoots of like Christianity, but then you probably have people like going like back to Fallout. You could probably have people who like worship
the
bomb,
bomb, the
fact
Adam,
that we got destroyed. They'll say that was our redemption that brought the end of the world, and now we can rebuild. They would worship that. Like I imagine you would have like because there's cults today on stuff that's crazier than that.
Yeah.
And in dire times, and you have a group of people who are like teaching you this, and they're providing for you, like people will believe, and they'll
Yeah. Along
of
with all
things.
this, like who knows what kind of radioactive kind of, I'm thinking like a long way down the line again, going back to like the zombie side of things, like what kind of like mutinous kind of animals and shit are we gonna come face to face with here? Like, are we talking death claws? Are we gonna come? Is that something that's gonna become?
Like when you look at like Chernobyl though,
Like
and it was like animals have actually like done really well out of the situation.
They
Like they're
have,
kind of they're able to.
but they've grown to like freakishly large sizes and things. And
I don't think that they have so much. I think it's just that it's their populations have grown because there's no humans there to like fuck up their habitats or pollute their water or cut down their homes. But they're like I think like okay, I don't know if there's wolves in Ireland. I don't think there is wolves in Ireland, right?
Not anymore.
But imagine that there was, or somehow a wolf got back into Ireland. They're like animals could like be the big threat potentially.
Yeah.
Because if their populations just grew and grew and grew, and we weren't like equipped to deal with them, if like the human population was so low,
like, if we can't
be
cull
like hunted
them
by wolves or something like. I don't know. Actually, Ireland is we're so fucking pedestrian. Like, there's no like venomous snakes or like like
I know
spiders.
As soon as something like that is introduced, it's like, oh fuck.
So, the dangerous thing I can think of right now is a badger.
Yeah, you get TB.
Yeah, exactly.
Rabies,
cattle could like charge you.
Crush you, I guess. Yeah, the cow maybe. I don't know. A horse maybe. I don't know. Yeah, there's nothing overly dangerous about the animals in Ireland.
Do you want me to tell you now why we may not have to worry about any of this?
I would love for you. Please put my mind at ease, D.
Oh, it's not going to put you at ease.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
The reason we mightn't have to worry about any of this is because we're probably all going to die anyway.
Ah, fantastic.
Even if we do survive. Now, this is, again, right? This is not... If a single bomb goes off in a country and all of this happens, there's a good chance that, if you survive the blast, that you will survive and, the world will come to your aid and you'll be okay. This is the circumstance of, like, everyone has blown everybody else up and we're all out on our own. And, like, hundreds of bombs that went off across the globe, right?
Yeah.
So during the Cold War, whenever like this was kind of like genuine risk of this happening, when US and Russia were squaring off to each other, it was estimated that if an all-out nuclear attack happened, that billions of people could survive, right?
Okay.
So say 7 billion people on the planet today.
Yeah.
Couple of billion could survive. So you could probably wipe out like 50-60% of the world's population.
Yeah.
But still a lot of people would survive, right?
Okay.
So it wouldn't just be like down to like, like a couple of thousand people. This is good news and bad news. Because good news is people are still survive.
Yeah.
Bad news is all of our production flows have been destroyed. So all of the countries here like growing food and exporting and importing and economies are all fucked.
Yeah.
But we still have billions of mouths to feed.
Yeah, right enough.
So one of the big things that like you can't always hear about, nuclear winter and nuclear holocaust, fallout and all this here. Here's a term that I'd never heard before, but it's probably what's going to kill all of us. Nuclear famine.
Oh. Well, that sounds delightful, D.
It doesn't it? Yeah, just terrific. Basically, Chris, what will happen is all of the particles kicked up by the atomic bombs, all of the dirt and all the shit that's been blown up into the atmosphere, it rises up into the atmosphere and it kind of hangs about, blocking out a large amount of sunlight.
Yeah.
So some of the studies that did this, they were assuming that even a small conflict between like, I think it was like Pakistan and India, say they were to fight each other, that would still throw up enough dirt into the atmosphere, enough physical matter into the atmosphere, which then gets circulated all across the globe because of like the air currents and all that stuff. What do you call them? Jet streams?
Jet streams.
All that stuff. You could see a 12 to 20 degrees Celsius drop in temperatures across the globe.
Yeah. It's
up to 35 degrees Celsius, sorry.
Yeah. It's funny you should mention this, Dee, because that's part part of the book I'm reading at the minute about is about I can't think of the word.
You'll get it. You'll get it. Give him a minute.
Civilizations. I was going to say, yeah, civilizations who lived on the planet long before the civilizations that we know. And one of the book is trying to kind of unravel how these people died out, and one of them was, that this quote unquote, as you said, like nuclear famine, and as you're only after saying, the air temperature would drop because there's so much dust and particles in the cloud. That's what they believe happened like thousands and thousands of years ago, whenever like a meteor hit and caused, it wasn't the meteor that wiped it out, it was the particles that were sent up into the sky. The temperature dropped so much that these people could no longer survive, and they went into the big freeze, basically.
It happened to the dinosaurs. So we all heard about the dinosaurs getting destroyed by a meteorite, and like that pretty much did happen, right?
Of course.
Don't know if it killed them or not, or if it was the reason, but that hit, and all of this soot and dirt and shit went up into the sky, and it basically reduced the global temperatures by like a massive amount.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you're probably thinking 12, 20 degrees Celsius, that's going to be chilly, but it's not like earth ending. There's people who live out in like Canada and like Alaska and stuff who live in like fucking
like minus 40, yeah.
Exactly, degrees, and it's fine. They can survive. You need to be heated, obviously. You need firewood, etc. The problem is all of the plants, crops, vegetables, everything like that. Exactly. If they have a drop in temperature from one year to the next, like that, they just die. They just don't survive. Like they're not.
They're not cut out to survive this kind of shit.
Exactly.
It would take thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years for them to eventually adapt and evolve to be able to survive this kind of.
Yeah.
By
which point the temperatures have changed again.
And we're all gone.
So the problem is that we lose all of the food that we're growing.
Yeah.
And you can get around it, right? You could, in special circumstances, you could heat them to the right temperature, give them enough artificial sunlight. But you need to do this for billions of people. And you just can't, because you don't have the manpower to do it and distribute it across the globe.
Yeah.
So there's your first problem. We are basically unable, due to the fact that up to 75% of the sun's light does not reach the surface. We're living in colder conditions. We can't grow food because it's too cold. The soil is too cold to grow. Whoever can grow food depend on electricity or on heat or something to do it. Tiny, tiny numbers of people will actually be able to survive that. And you have billions of mouths to feed. So there's going to be widespread famine. The other thing.
Okay. Sorry. I got a banana as well.
You're awful good yourself.
Boy, I needed a pee so fucking bad. That was terrible. I'm sorry.
You're all right.
Okay. Anyway, yes.
What was I talking about?
So as you were saying, the nuclear famine, you were going to tell me about the next point?
Oh, yeah, we're all going to die. We talked about EMP already.
Yes.
So it's kind of already covered what we were basically saying, but it's like no electricity, no hospitals, nothing.
Right enough, I never even thought about hospitals and like life support internet. And
basically we're so dependent on it today, and we lose it immediately. So many people will die just from lack of services like that. This is the thing about the EMP though. It probably only lasts for like a day or two. So like it'll knock out your computer, it'll knock out your phone, etc. And like all electricity and all electrical services will probably be affected. But they could switch them right back on, theoretically. The problem is who's going to be there to switch it back on, and who's going to maintain all of these things being connected and like doing the thing they used to do. Whenever.
Do you think that in this day and age that people would rally to keep that going because they know we need these services, or do you think we would just into complete anarchy?
It depends on the thing. Like YouTube, I don't think people are going to be like dying to keep it going. You know what I mean? Like,
no, yeah, I get like YouTube
podcast services probably we're good.
People need their podcast. No, but I mean like in terms of like the grid, like we spoke earlier, like no one's going to want to maintain the grid if they're doing that for free as such. But do you think that because people know that electricity is such a necessity and we need it, people will rally together to do it for free, or will we just descend into?
No, yeah, it depends. Like it would need to be coordinated. Like someone would need to be in charge. Kind of, you'd have to say, we're going to keep this hospital powered because we need the hospital to help people. So all of you people there have to go do it and start doing this job. I think people would, but you have to organize it, which is not going to be happening at the start because everyone's going to be looking out for themselves and trying to survive this. But yeah, in general, I think some things will survive. Like you said, radio, and I think that's probably like almost definitely will, because all you need is a like one of them ham radios powered to a battery, and you can communicate with people. So like that'll probably like come back. And yeah, the other thing was fallout. So we talked how the majority of the fallout will come down in the first 24 hours after a nuclear explosion. Whenever there's been bombs going off all over the world, that lasts a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Somewhere in the region of 5 years.
Seriously?
Yeah. So because so much has been kicked up, and now that it's like circulated around the globe, it's going to be coming down. It could persist for 5 years, and there's like, it's more so that like it'll fall down sooner than that, but like areas will be like so concentrated that particular area will be like, if you went into it for 5 years after the event, you would probably die from radioactive poisoning.
Fuck.
So certain parts of the world just won't be like, you just can't go there anymore.
Yeah.
Black rain, we kind of mentioned, can contaminate water supplies. So you can't trust your water that you're drinking. Long-term exposure drives up cancer rates. So,
cancer rates, right now.
People will be dying.
Cells,
People will be dying of cancer, and they'll be untreatable, and you'll lose people over time to that.
But we'll probably
the biggest one
probably not even know that this is cancer, because
it's just
we've got
sickness.
No hospitals to diagnose. We've got no medical staff that are going to work for us. It's just got to be the radiation. We'll just know it as like the radiation sickness or something,
That's it. You'll just be like, I'm sick.
Yeah.
It'll be cancer, or you won't know what it is. It'll just be happening.
Wow.
But I think the gist of it is that this nuclear famine thing is going to be like massively destructive. So unless you've done something like what we've outlined, which is make yourself self-sustainable in some way, you're pretty much, a lot of people are going to die. But even if you are self-sustainable, there's a good chance you're not going to be able to grow food because of the lack of sunlight and the cold conditions.
Yeah.
The only way I could think of doing it is like if you had like heat, like a heat source, and you could heat water, you could possibly like heat your soil to keep your food up to a certain temperature, keep your crops at a certain temperature, and just pray you're getting enough sunlight, just from day to day.
Yeah.
But those first 5 years, those years after the event, would be like extremely, extremely brutal.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just thinking like I was trying to think of how I would fashion some kind of like soil heating device.
I was just like, I'd rip out all of the heating like out of the house. Or a house, not my house, obviously.
Yeah, I was thinking along those lines too, like copper, like almost under floor heating, but it'll be under soil heating, copper wiring, something that conducts our heat very, very well. Jesus, there's a lot to think about here.
Yeah, I mean,
we're gonna need like the top engineers for this kind of stuff.
Top minds. Hopefully we never actually have to worry about
this. Of course,
but it is pretty fucking dire if it does happen.
Yeah.
Either this or an asteroid hits us.
Yeah, well, I mean, I've been reading a lot about the asteroid. I don't think we're ever going to be in fear of an asteroid colliding and becoming our like eternal doom. I think we're going to be ready to mine. As far as research has shown us, like we're going to be ready to put men onto the asteroids heading towards Earth within 5 years to mine their resources and return
drill them, cut them in half, and then make them go either side like an Armageddon.
yeah, something like that. Yeah,
but we won't train astronauts to dig.
No,
we'll train miners to be astronauts because that's much simpler.
Yeah, fair enough. This is like this is just again one side of things. Like this is the nuclear apocalypse. We haven't thought of like what if there's just a massive contagion such as like the world that we're living in now. Like if if COVID just fucking went rampant for years, you know, and we're left with like a sickness or something that
You'll
does start turning people.
2021, eh?
Jesus, man. You know, this is crazy. As you say, hopefully we never have to think of these things and never have to live in such a time. But
yeah, it's like a fun fantasy to think about how you would survive, but like realistically, it's just gonna be like the worst thing to ever happen to like to modern humans, like ever. Like it's just gonna be the worst circumstance. We'll basically be annihilating ourselves. If there is a nuclear war. Don't do it.
No.
I'm worried about North Korea doing it. But like even like kind of as we talked about, is like this is the case if like there's just total warfare, like everyone's firing nukes at everyone.
Yeah.
Like one nuclear bomb, it happened in Hiroshima, it happened in Nagasaki, and people survived. You know, and the world survived. We moved on. So one is not the end, but like the problem, like during the Cold War anyway, was that there were like tens of thousands of these bombs. Like tens of thousands, like more than like
just to completely obliterate the planet, like.
And one thing we're definitely going to be talking about at some point is the Cuban Missile Crisis, which is probably the closest that we've ever come to the scenario that we've just outlined. Like
I look forward to that. Yeah, I look forward to that discussion because I'd like to know more about that whole thing. That's a good one, actually. Yeah, that kind of ties in with conspiracy theories as well.
Yeah, because there was a lot of CIA involvement in Cuba.
Yeah, or JFK. Was there?
Hey.
I have nothing else to add to this discussion, as most of mine relates to more like zombie apocalypse survival.
It's pretty similar.
But it's pretty dire, like to think of how we would like. You know, in our heads and conversation around the table, it's, you know, we'll just start growing crops and things will be shitty because we won't have internet, but you know, we'll have to just live off potatoes and veg, and we'll have to walk a couple of miles for water. Like it, no, we'll just hunt animals. No, you won't. No. We'll redevelop medicines. No, you won't. No, this is not how things are going to happen. You know,
so you're in for a bad time, guys.
No, well,
but anyway, I hope we haven't depress people too much.
Thank you for, well, even if we have, we'll pick it up for the final part now of the podcast. But thank you for bringing to me that research, Dee. I've learned some things this week that I didn't actually know. We hope you did too.
I learned a lot this week.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that. You want to move on?
Yeah, I mean, we gotta get personal with this poll yesterday. We do something before that.
We normally do community questions. Now I had two, but I haven't. I think I might have wrote down. I wrote down one of them. I know I have another two, but they're on the Instagram account, and I don't have my phone because I'm hotspotting my signal out to the studio at the minute. So I can give you a community question this week, Dave, which is actually quite a good one. I actually enjoy this one. Community question is, what is your best, this comes from Live Berries. What is your best under £100 purchase? And what is your best over £100 purchase?
That's a tough one.
It really is. Yeah. I had to think, I had some thought about this. I think my best over £100 purchase is.
Can I guess it?
I know you're yeah, go ahead.
Your mattress?
It is my mattress. Yeah. Yeah. Last year I went for one of the Emma mattresses. And I'm pretty sure like the Emma mattress and the Simba mattress and there's a couple of other names for all different ones, but I think they're all pretty much the same thing.
They're like foam. They're not memory foam. They're like different meshes of foam.
A couple of different layers to it. But I bought myself an Emma mattress. Oh man, I have not looked back. That bad boy is treating me well. That is without doubt I think my best over £100 purchase. Close contender for that are my running shoes, or really any pair of shoes that are comfortable over £100. Because
shoes, I really appreciate shoes.
I think it was you that said to me when I was making that purchase that what is it like if you're not in your bed, you're in your shoes,
Oh
or
yeah,
you're on
I
your
don't know if
feet?
that was me, but that's a good one.
So, you got to make sure that both those things are pretty comfortable. So either my Brooks running shoes or my Emma mattress are 100% my over £100 purchase. Top
That's a
marks.
good one, like that.
Yeah.
Have you got one for under?
Under £100 purchase. I'm trying to think, is there something I would use kind of regularly? I'm trying to think of something quite quaint or something quite small that brings me a lot of kind of satisfaction using it. Um, um, I have a diary, like a journal. It breaks it in. It was like £20. This is the second year I've bought the exact same one, and it breaks like your day down into hourly segments. It gives you a to-do box at the bottom. It's a diary with a load of different time slots for doing things. I think I spend about £20 on that every year in like January to see me through the year. I really, really enjoy those diaries just for helping me keep track of things to do or that I've done or making notes. But I can't think of anything else, D.
Yeah, I'm struggling to think of really anything at the moment. It's something I use every day. Like I do use my computer every day, and it was well over £100. I'm glad to have a pretty good one.
Yeah, your
But
computer's fucking awesome, man. You built that though, yeah?
yeah, and I think that's another reason why I kind of appreciate it, because like I put it together, which is kind of nice.
Mm-hmm.
Although now I'm like constantly thinking about, oh, I'm gonna make a better one.
Yeah.
Gonna have to update it. Yeah, no, that's that could be the over £100 one.
Yeah.
Because I think if it's something you use every day, which I do for work now that I work from home, it's vital to have something that's not going to frustrate you and kind of meets your needs.
Yeah.
Under £100.
Actually, yeah, one for my under £100 as well would probably be my Ninja blender that I have.
That's a good one, actually.
I've used it for a lot of foods, for a lot of juices, sauces, everything that you could possibly think of blending. Like I've probably put into that at least once, and it holds out really well. I think it was like £45 It was a tremendous investment. Like
That's tidy.
I would say I use that thing 6 days a week from my garden, at least once a day. So,
That's a lot of usability.
Yeah. Ninja mixer blender. I don't know what it's called. But, yeah, that's definitely up there.
Yeah, that's good. I'm really struggling to find one under £100.
A couple of other ones, like the over ones. I think when we made the transition doing the podcast from not having a mixer for our interface to having a mixer, that was definitely a good purchase. Over my laptop, which is like stood the test of time. I bought one with like the highest specs I could find at the time because I knew the specs were going to like constantly change. So if I had something that could last me a decent while,
and a couple of years,
and just our equipment, I think in general for the podcast is a good one.
Yeah, I'm unfortunately stuck. I'll have a think.
Have a think. Yeah, you can come back to us on that one. Let's get some personal with the podcast. Tell me what you've done over the last week and what you plan on getting up to over the next week.
Well, now let's see. The last week, Jesus. Oh, what happened? It wasn't election week. It was the week after election week. I was really busy election week. It was kind of less busy last week, but well in need of a break. Today is my first day off. Well, I have 2 days off this week, today and Friday.
Oh, what a tremendous day off.
Yeah, I kind of split it because I feel like there's a lot still to be done at work, and I'm not ready to take a couple of days off in a row, although I am desperate for that. That'll hopefully come in the next couple of weeks. But yeah, well in need of a day off, and I'm glad to have one today. Good. I haven't done much with it, but I didn't need to. The point was to not have to do anything.
To have a day off, yeah, exactly.
I have I've been playing a lot of Apex Legends with Laura.
Like, have you? Yeah.
Every day. Yeah.
Are you playing Call of Duty?
Which is no.
Are either of you playing Call of Duty? No.
Didn't get it.
No.
Can't justify £50 to get that game. Unfortunately.
I understand that.
Can't. What about yourself?
I was at the start, the week leading up to it, I was like, my mindset was I'm definitely purchasing this. The day before, I'll pre-order it, let it download, do its thing, and then I'll play it on the day. And I actually jumped back into Minecraft, and
Right. Yeah.
That's where I am at the minute.
Say no more.
And I was like, well, I don't need to play Call of Duty at the minute. And I mean, I'm not seeing an overly large amount that's swaying me, as you say, to pay the £50 for the game. So I'm happy to just wait this one out for a while, probably closer until Christmas. Yeah, until I get that.
Maybe when it drops on sale or something, I might.
Yeah.
No, aside from that, like I haven't really done a whole pile. Had no, yeah, like that's it.
Yeah.
horribly quiet week.
Good. That's a good thing.
Kind of
Sometimes
just
quiet weeks is what you
keeping
need.
my head down.
Yeah. I get you.
Mm-hmm.
We were supposed to podcast at the weekend to keep it going. I was supposed to get up to you, but I was feeling quite unwell on Saturday night. I did a longer training run. I think I know what the cause of it was. I had a longer training run on the Saturday morning. That was 16 mile, and I came in from it, and I started with just like I went back into like what my regular diet would be. And then later on in the day, I decided to have chips, like French fries, chips. And as soon as I finished eating them, my stomach just went crazy, like properly, really, really bad, just bloaty and gassy and shitty. And I just thought, normally after the day of like or the day off, a longer run, my appetite kind of diminishes and I don't feel like doing much. I just want to lie there. And I kind of have to force myself to eat a bit. And then I ate those and I just wasn't feeling great. I didn't have anything else. I lay in bed, and just that night, then it started getting worse and worse. And eventually it got to the point where I was like, I know I'm in for a shitty night here. So I'm going to let you know that there's a good chance we're not going to be on. And thankfully I did, because Sunday morning I woke up and again, I wasn't feeling anything whatsoever. Again, it was a kind of shitty weekend. But during that time, I watched Making a Murderer in its entirety. Because I hadn't seen it before. I had only heard of the Stephen Avery case, so I watched it. I was really surprised by how much I got drawn into that, and I've started watching Queen's Gambit on Netflix.
I've heard like amazing things.
Yeah, it's I mean, I'm only 2 episodes in. It's only a 7-part series, I think. But what they've done is really quite good. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. So I'll probably give you the full review of mine the next time we meet. I should have gotten through it.
Nice. Yeah, no, I think I might start that one next. I don't know. It's just surprisingly, I've seen the trailer and I was like, that's quite interesting, the trailer. And then I read things on Reddit that people are just like, this is like just
TV
not
that can't be
everyone's
missed.
expectations.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd like to try and watch something decent like that.
Yeah. I think I watched a movie as well. And I was going to give you my rundown of it.
I have a hankering. I need to watch the Pirates of the Caribbean films again.
Yeah, why?
The music came on the other day, and I was like, oh, "God, those films are great." I definitely need to get back into that and just run through that trilogy. But
I watched them over first lockdown, like when we first went into lockdown back in like March, April time. Me and my brother and sister watched the trilogy, because that's honestly where the Pirates end for me.
Yep.
So I watched them. Yeah, you're in for a real treat if you haven't seen them in a while either. Like, because they're
it's been like multiple years, so I'm definitely
they hold up. They hold up really well in this day and age. Yeah, and like you said, the soundtrack is immense. So.
Oh, it's tremendous.
So, I watched that's what it was. I watched American Psycho. You put me in the mood to watch American Psycho.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And I watched. Have you heard of a movie called Michael Inside?
No, I don't think so.
Story of an Irish guy in Dublin who gets brought to prison for possession of drugs, and it's kind of the story of how our system here in Ireland, how the the what's the word in that what's the word on the system, the like jails and things like that. What's that word?
Oh my god. I
Yeah,
can't think of it now.
there's a word. It's like something system.
Rehabilitation?
Is it rehabilitation? Yeah. Yeah, I guess it was
Penal system?
penal system.
Is that it?
Yeah, let's use penal system. And on how it like can affect like a young boy, and how like
Judicial system?
That's a better one. How it can affect like a young boy, and how they can be
Circulatory system?
respiratory, maybe. How they can fall into like a life of crime. It's really good. Set in Dublin, modern day. It's a good watch. Yeah. So that's what I did.
There's the recommendations.
Yep.
Anyone listening, get back to us with your opinions on Michael Inside and
American Psycho and Queen's Gambit as well. Yeah.
And Queen's Gambit.
Yeah. That's it. I'm gonna play some more Minecraft, I think. Oh yeah, what have you got planned for over the next week, or what are you doing up until the weekend anyway?
Oh god, there won't be a whole pile, Chris. You know, there won't.
Good.
I'm hoping to maybe start that Queen's Gambit, or possibly Fargo season 2. Finish season 1.
Oh, dude, no, just do Fargo season 2. Holy shit!
I think I might. Yeah, I think once I get the first episode started, I'll be like, I'm in for this now.
You've seen all the seasons so far, though, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, okay. When season 2 first started, I wasn't blown away, but as that season went on, I think it's my favorite of the 3.
It is my favorite of the 3, and I think I'm going to appreciate it more having just finished season 1 because of the way kind of there's links. Yeah. So when I first watched season 2, it had been like years since I'd seen the first season, and I didn't really care for any of the like how the characters related. But now I'm definitely going to be much more interested in that, so I'm excited to see it again.
Brilliant. Yeah, that sounds excellent. That sounds really good.
But yeah, that'll pretty much be it. I'll play some Apex. It's just always fun just to sort of chill in the evening with that. And that will be it, Chris. Hoping to get some more time off soon so I can take a proper break and maybe do something productive. But until then.
Cool. Excellent. That sounds great. I will get ready for our next podcast. Because we're hoping to bring a big topic to the next one. Something big, because it's been a while since we had a nice, big, juicy kind of story.
Chunky boy.
Yeah. So I've got a couple that I want to bring to you. So I'll run a few by you over the week and see what you think. And then I'll bring we'll bring like a really big story for our next one. Apart from that, I'm getting ready tomorrow. I start my November running challenge.
What's that? No, not November?
No, not November. Fuck. It's not November. Sorry, you've gone quite blurry on me again.
I know. It keeps doing it.
Gone.
My camera is just like we've seen enough of you, guy. Like,
okay,
get that fucking thing off the TV screen. Hello.
No, the challenge for me for November tomorrow, I'll be starting it is 5 miles. 5 miles every 4 hours for 24 hours.
Seen that?
Yeah. That's
so do you have to do 5 miles every 4 hours? So you have to take a 4 hour break between each 5 mile?
Yeah.
So you're going to be sleeping for like 3 hours, getting up, running 5 miles, and sleeping for another 3 hours.
Yeah.
Why?
It's more like, it's more just to prepare for the bigger races, for the 50 and 100 miler. It's like getting used to running on tired legs, getting used to trying to fuel quickly between, like stages, getting used to running at like unsociable hours or like just ludicrous fucking times in the night and things like that. But the way I've set it up is I'll start tomorrow morning, hopefully at 5 a.m. We'll do 5, 9, 1 p.m., 5 p.m., 9 p.m., and then 1 a.m. We'll finish it then. Next morning.
Finish it up and then get a good sleep after that.
Get a good sleep, and then basically I have the rest of the week off from training and running and things. So I'll just let my body relax and heal then.
How many calories will you consume on that 24
Don't know.
period?
That'll be interesting to see.
You're not like intentionally adjusting it up. You're just going to see how you feel.
I'm just going to see how I feel and play it by ear. All I know is I'll be taking.
Sorry. I'm just imagining you playing up here, then you just fucking collapsing. Like,
yeah.
3 miles into your sixth run.
Yeah. I hope to document as much of it as I can on our Instagram page, just little snippets, and see how
be great,
things are going. long. And get ready, because next month then I'll do the 4x4 by 48, which is 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours.
Oh fuck yeah.
That's
God.
that's a much bigger one. Just the sleep deprivation, I think, is the biggest kind of killer.
That's what I'm imagining as well. You won't have more than 3 hours uninterrupted sleep. How long will it take you to run the 5 miles roughly?
Well, because I want to do it over like a pace that I'm not going to absolutely kill my legs and blather myself, probably anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour I'm going to look for.
Yeah.
For each loop. So
you'll realistically less than 3 hours sleep because of getting up and going and coming back and stuff.
I can't imagine I'll sleep a whole pile, to tell you the truth. I'll rest, sure, like legs up, feet up, that kind of thing, but I can't imagine I'll sleep an overly large period of time.
I think that'll be the most painful thing. I think it'll be the feeling.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I've never ran fucking that amount of miles, so
that's it. Neither have I. This is completely new territory for me as well. Doing it like I've ran that distance, just not over like this, like broke up. So the sleep deprivation will be fun to see how that kind of affects me, I guess, because I like trying stupid things and seeing how my body responds to it. So that'll be interesting. Hopefully, we'll be able to talk to you in the next podcast about how it went. So
yeah, that'll be a great one actually.
Yep.
I look forward to finding out.
Besides that, I'm going to try to get this podcast turned over pretty quickly and get up. So at least the audio will definitely probably go up this evening, and the video might not go up until like tomorrow, maybe even later.
Hello, everybody. 3 hours from now.
Yeah, I know.
It's pretty cool.
It's weird. Video will probably go up tomorrow. That'll be something I'll just do in between runs. Just take my mind off shit.
It reminds me of the Bo
Mills or Bo Miles that you did the one mile every hour or 3 miles every hour or something like that. Yeah. That was brilliant. That's a tremendous video.
Yeah, that'll be fun. I went blurry again, but I'm not gonna fix it this time.
No, we're wrapping up the show. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we hope that this podcast has found you well. And if it has, hopefully you can do us a big favor and maybe drop us a little thumbs up rating. If you're listening somewhere that you can do that. If you're watching the video version on YouTube, give us a thumbs up there. That would help us out tremendously. The audio, like we said, is available on any podcast hosting service, and the video available at youtube.com/emptypromisepodcast. Get in touch with us through our social media, which is just search the handle Empty Promise Podcast. Instagram and Twitter work best for us. Our Facebook page is also there, and our website, just search for Empty Promise Podcast again. And we look forward to taking all your questions, queries, comments, tidbits, all from you. I think that's all I have to mention. Something else I want to mention as well, very, very briefly, we're not going to get into depth of it, but you and I are now working on hopefully bringing the biggest podcast episode
the world has ever seen,
that Empty Promise has ever seen, over the next couple of weeks.
Empty Promise world, pretty much the same thing. Big things in the works.
Big things in the works, and normally we would say that, and then we just bring another episode. But we got kind of good news this week that something good could or something big could kind of happen, in terms of like bringing guests onto the show and things like that. So stay tuned for that one. We will be bringing more guests on in the not too distant future as well. Really look forward to those. And I think that's all. For this week. I think that will do it on this Tuesday afternoon. Yeah. So that is it. This is Empty Promise signing off, and we will see you all later in
Bright-eyed and bushy tails.
Next week. Bright-eyed and bushy tails. Goodbye and God bless.
Cheers. Bye-bye.